Ladies and gentlemen, they've done it again. That's right, they've done it again. Another JMod work from home masterclass, the Yama contract system. We are now day of release on the Yama contracts, and it is as bad as you could have possibly imagined. Maybe worse than you could have possibly imagined. So for those who don't know, a brief history of the Yama contracts. Yama comes out, it's advertised as an endgame duo boss, and everyone's excited, myself included. We think how awesome it is to have an endgame duo boss in the game. Royal Titans had just come out as a mid-game duo boss, and they did a great job with Royal Titans. For a mid-game boss, it was a ton of fun, and we thought, wow, what could they do with an endgame duo boss? How exciting would that be? And then we hear, not only is it endgame though, but you also have this contract system, and it'll change the fight. And I myself specifically I was a little hesitant. I thought, well, wait, these contracts, this sounds a lot like the invocation system, and that's not something that's really been done very well in the game. And they come out and they say, no, look, this won't be the invocation system. This will be completely different. This will be unique. And it's like, okay, well, let's see. I guess we'll have to see because they're not telling us much more on it. So we'll see how they go. And then more info comes out where the week before release. And then all of a sudden we hear, wait, these contracts are consumable? They're Awaken Resorbs? And now everyone's like, well, this is the Awaken Resorb system. And people don't like that either. There was a lot of pushback on the Awaken Resorb system. And Mod Goblin comes out and they say, look, these aren't Awaken Resorbs. These are going to be much more available. You'll be able to get them from Greater Demons. They won't be the same as Awaken Resorbs. Just trust us. They won't be the same as Invos either. Just trust us. And now we're day of release. They've come out. Not only are they the Invo system, not only is it the Awaken Resort system, it's somehow worse. They've somehow done a worse job. The Yama contracts, it's the Medic Invo, the Myopia Invo, and Quiet Prayers. All these invocations make up the Yama contract fight. These are all in the game. It's the exact same as the Invo system. They said this will fundamentally change the fight. No, it does. It fundamentally changes the fight in the way that the Invo system does. And on top of that, all of the contracts now, 1,000 defense on the bosses, 2,000 health, 15 minutes per KC for each of these solo bosses, and there are 5 of them. It's like they just took the worst parts, everything people hated about the Invo system, the HP scaling, the defense scaling, the tedious nature of the modifiers they put out. They took them all, they combined them into one, they made the contract system. And then the orb part of it too, they said, no, this will be more readily available. Unfortunately, no one at Jagex knows how to use a calculator. Not only that, no one at Jagex knows how to multiply 2 numbers in their head, because the boss comes out and we see, wait, the dossier is 1 out of 20 and it's 1 out of 30 to get a contract from that? That's 600. That's 1 out of 600 of this boss. It takes 3 minutes to kill this boss per time, and that's for one attempt, one Awakener's Orb attempt, and you need 5 of them. And you need 1,000 Yama KC to go on rate to have one attempt at the boss. I mean, we're 8 hours into the update. No one's killed more than 3 out of 5 of them. And I mean, people are used hundreds of attempts already. That's hundreds of thousands of KC if you're an Iron Man. It's mind-boggling how they could be so incompetent, how they could just not multiply 2 numbers together. I just don't understand it. I really struggle to understand it. And I struggle to understand how they could release these contracts, how anyone could playtest them and think, no, these are enjoyable, these are fun. Every single stream I've gone to, no one likes these. No one is doing. The only reason anyone is doing this right now on stream is for the clout of World's First. Everyone who's not a streamer, they've quit. They quit hours ago because these are so terrible, because the defense and the HP scaling is so bad, and the tedious nature of the modifiers are so annoying, and the one-shot mechanics, it's horrible. Nothing about this is enjoyable, and they're all solo. None of them require a duo boss. And they said, well, look, we'll add some stuff will be duo. Look, you can get the pet contract duo. And originally they were going to make the pet contract guaranteed, but, a lot of people got mad. So now it's 1 out of 250, which it's like, okay, well, we're going from guaranteed to 1 out of 250. I mean, that's a pretty big difference, right? I mean, 250 is still that's not super common. I thought it was going to be 1 out of 10 personally when they released it, but they said, oh, well, now you can do a duo. Only one of you can do a duo, though. Only one of you gets the 1 out of 250. Your duo partner is 1 out of 2,500 still. So you have to go in, and your duo partner is getting ragged. He's doing a version of the boss that's 20 times harder than the regular for no better. He has no better rate. And you would think, well, maybe you could use 2 contracts at the start, and you both get a better rate, right? That would make sense. It would make sense, which is why they don't do it, because it would make too much sense, right? It would require too much, thought. I mean, it would require them to have designed this more than a week in advance. Everything about this just screams rushed. It screams they waited a week before these came out. They designed them. They never play tested them, and I'll tell you why I know they never play tested them. Mod Knox, the only GM on the team, didn't try these. He said he didn't try these, and he's the only one who's really would even be capable of doing them. He was the only one who did the Awakener DT2. He play tested that, and he did those. And also, one of the contracts was bugged until about 7 hours ago. It was undoable. You could not do P3 on one of the contracts until they hotfixed it like an hour ago. So for 7 hours it was unkillable. And the only they didn't know because they never got that far in the playtest because none of them are that good. It's maddening. It's maddening. It's unbelievable. And now you have Goblin coming out and he's saying, "Look, guys, we see this as a miss. We made a mistake. We won't do this in the future." But we had Mod Kieran maybe 6 months ago, came out, and I remember vividly after a Coliseum stream on a Q&A, he comes out and he says, "Look, guys, we know the info system didn't hit for Coliseum and for Toa. We're not going to do it anymore." And the very next endgame update we get is Yama, and they do an info system, and it is terrible again. So I'm sorry, Mod Goblin. I know you mean well. I think you do a pretty good job as far as the CMs go. I don't care what you say about you're not going to do it again. I don't believe you. I'm sorry. You guys have a history of just not of saying one thing and doing the exact opposite. I just don't believe you. I don't think there's enough checks and balances in Jagex. I don't think enough people are reviewing these bosses. I think they just let the devs ship whatever they want, and regardless of how fun it is or not, and they don't play test it, and they just say, "Oh, you think it's a good idea? All right, ship it into the game." And it's terrible. It's terrible. And that's exactly what's happened here with the Yama contract system. It's unenjoyable. It's buggy. It makes no sense as far as, like with the pet contracts and the rates on that. The scaling is just atrocious. The rates are atrocious. Again, if you need 100 attempts like you did for Blorva, you have to do 100,000 Yamas. And they hotfixed it today, actually. So I think they like quadrupled the rates because they were so bad. So now you only need to kill 25,000 Yamas. So congrats to you. It's way easier now. You only need to go 25,000 Yama to get it. So good luck to all the irons out there. Hopefully you're able to get this oath plate, which also looks terrible. And people had talked about how they didn't like the look of the white armor, but we never got any blogs on how it looked in game until a week before, and by then it was too late. And they said they'll change it. Sure, yeah, we're now at the point where we have to just fix everything after release because we rush things into the game. We don't play test things. We don't consult the community, and it's just terrible. I mean, we just get these horrible updates here, and this is just where we're at now, and it's killed all excitement for the Delve Boss, all excitement for Raids 4 is out the window as long as these same developers are doing that content, because I just have no faith. I have no faith in their ability to make fun and engaging endgame content. I just haven't seen it. So hopefully we can see it with Delve. I mean, I'm very willing to admit I'm wrong. I hope to God they can prove me wrong. I hope they can throw something out there that's really good and really fun and really enjoyable. But until then, we'll see. So thank you guys for watching as always. Hope you guys have a great Memorial Day weekend for you in the U.S. For those who are not in the U.S., I'm sorry for you. I hope you have a good weekend regardless. Thank you for watching.